All right, welcome to our dance stage makeup tutorial. We are going to start step by step, starting from the skin and working all the way into our colors. This is for more of a mature dancer. We'll do a separate tutorial for the tiny dancers, but we will start with our skin. Okay, so first we're going to take a little tiny dab of the primer. Rub it into my fingertips. I like to apply it with my fingertips. You can apply it with a brush if you would prefer, but very important to put it especially by the eyes, and I kind of slightly go around the lip a little bit. Just look up, and you want to tap it in, just because if you are going to be rubbing it in, all you're doing is just moving around that product without setting it into her pores. If you tap it in, this will actually make her makeup stay all day long. So especially at a competition, when you have to dance in the morning and then in the evening, you don't want to have to start applying everything again. So tap, 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 and then just kind of let it dry slightly before you carry on with your foundation. Now, primer also is normally for a more mature skin. It will fill in all the cracks and everything, the cracks and the lines, but on a younger skin, there's nothing to fill in, so it's just to set her makeup for the day. Okay, so next I'm going to go in with a foundation, and I am going to apply with my silicone sponge. Okay, and again, here I can just kind of blend it around. Right now we can move it, just kind of push the product just to kind of get it on the base of her face. And then after, I'll show you how to set it on there. Okay, and the majority of her skin, you want to start on the thickest part of the skin, which is right in her cheek area here, and coming into her forehead. I always put some on the lid of the eye, just to once again hold up that eyeshadow. And I do go over the lips, just because, again, it just kind of gives us a really nice base to hang on to. Okay, so now it is spread around the face. Now we want to go back in and set it more. So this is where we're going to use that same tapping technique. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now while that sets a little bit, we're going to start working on the eyeshadow. We do not want to do concealer or setting spray till the very end, because with our eyeshadow, you always get a little bit of foliage, so we don't want that to stick to the, we want to be able to wipe that away after. Okay, so we're going to start with the base, and I'm going to use a little bit of a lighter shade, probably any kind of lighter shade that you prefer. And then you just want to use a flatter brush and just kind of tap this over the eyelid. So once we're done with the whole eyelid, we're going to get into a little bit of shading right off the bat. So I'm going to take a little bit more of a pointier brush, and we'll use a little bit of a darker brown. Again, whichever makeup brand you use, it's totally up to you. This isn't to promote any makeup brand, it's just to show how to apply stage makeup. So we're going to do like almost like a little triangle. So we're going to go right on the crease of her eye. That'll get you to open up your eye. When she opens up her eye, you should be able to see it on top of her crease. Okay, and close your eye again. Okay, and then you're going to come back in to the corner of her eye, almost in like a little V shape here, okay? Again, stage makeup is very, very dramatic. Just turn your head this way a little bit. Very dramatic, but it's something where you really need those eyes to pop when they're all in the bright lights on stage. And open your eye again. I just want to make sure I can still see it. Looking me straight ahead. Perfect. Now, if you don't go above where her crease is, when she's looking, you won't be able to see it. So we want to make this as quick and easy as possible. So if you are too low in her crease, her eye's just going to look really small. Turn to the side here a bit. Okay, look at me. Okay. Okay, so I'm really liking that light color that we use. So I'm going to use that same color and just kind of add to the inside of the lid here, or inside to the middle of the lid, just because we really want her eyes to be separated from the dark colors on the crease and on the end. Now, in a normal makeup look, obviously you would be blending in those lines a lot more, but like I said, a little bit more dramatic for stage makeup. Okay, and I always kind of get into those corners a little bit as well. Again, that's part of just keeping the eye looking like it's really nice and big. And this is why you have to keep, we're kind of shadowed on one side. So I'm just taking my brush just to kind of brush out that line just a little bit. Perfect. Okay, so you got kind of like this kind of opposite wedge kind of coming from the top of the brow and into the bottom on both sides here. And then once again, going over the dark part, we kind of wear the crease and inward. So you're kind of still making that little bit of a wedge shape on both sides. But we're going to take now, let's see. Okay, and that should be enough for her eyeshadow. And like I said, it is quite dramatic right now. But on stage, that will be perfect. Okay, so we're going to do just a little tiny bit of highlighter right underneath her brow, right in here, just to kind of catch the light a little bit. Turn to the side a little bit. There we go. Sorry, we don't have the best of light right now, so this just kind of perfect. Okay, it's a little dark, but like I said, that's perfect for stage makeup. So next we're going to just kind of, depending on the dancer, with her particular dance, we need to accentuate the eyebrows a little bit more. So not every dance you do this. Some dances you would just leave it as is. I'm going to help out her brow a little bit, so may as well show you. If you don't need this part, you can just kind of scroll through. Okay, inch it up a little bit. You just want to follow that natural brow. Point is to have more of a straight line on the bottom, but really small strokes, following just her natural brow. You don't need to do anything crazy. You just need to show that there are brows there when everyone's looking at her far on the stage. Okay, that'd be about perfect. And the other side, again, we'll start bottom. Small little tiny strokes. And I'm going to come in this side, sorry. Again, doesn't matter what kind of brow liner that you use. I actually use quite a few different tools for brows. This one I'm using now has the 3 little heads, so it makes it little, almost like brush strokes. And then I'll take the brush for an eyebrow brush, blend it together so it's not too, like I said, you want the brows to show, you just don't need them to take over her whole face. Now, looking at it this way, I'm just going to turn your head, come in here a little bit more. Okay, good. Usually I don't have a camera in front of me, so it's a little bit easier to get into these angles, but perfect. Good, and that should be the eye minus your eyeliner and lashes. So the next part, we are actually going to show you how to apply lashes, which I will do. I'm going to stop and go from behind. It'll be a totally different tutorial. But to prep the eyes for eyelashes, I always like to do a little bit of mascara. So when you're applying mascara on someone else, especially, okay, so I want you to look at me straight and then look downward. That's the best way to apply it. So that she's looking kind of right, kind of 45 degrees. That's a little bit too low, a little bit higher. Up here. No, you got to look at me up here. Right here. Follow the brush. There you go. Okay, because it's enough that her eyelashes are open, but yet they're not going to touch the top of her lid. Okay, you're looking downward right now. You got to look right here. Okay, so this is just a very light coat of mascara, just so when I put the lashes on there, they have something to already kind of stick to. Okay, so next will be lashes. All right, next we're going to do a tutorial on how to apply eyelashes, and that will be on when you're applying them onto someone else. So we're going to start with some eyelashes where we'll see that there's always a taper side, and then it goes a little bit longer. So the side that's shorter obviously wants to go into the corner of the eye and coming outward. But you do want to measure them first. So I'm going to take my first strip off here. Okay, we're going to cut this one. And we're going to do this side. Okay, so again, we're going to look at where the corner of her eye starts. I'm going to place it on where her eyelash should end. So here, she is almost, she's almost exactly to how long they are, but I don't want that corner to bother her, okay? So when you're trimming them, you want to trim from the very long part. Okay, so press pause for a sec. All right, so I just kind of knocked off, I just kind of clipped that little piece at the end. Gonna double check her again. They look good, perfect. Okay, so we're gonna do one lash at a time. Okay, so I just went and clipped to the very end of her eyelash, and then I placed a very small line of glue onto the actual lash line. So what you want to do, because you can see how that is white, and you need that to really tack out. You need it to be quite clear before we apply it to her eyes, because if this glue gets onto her eye, this is the mistake a lot of people make, and it kind of goes all over the place and it's a huge mess. So I put it very thin, but we have to let it tack out for a little while before we place it. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bend these lashes up just a little bit with my tweezer, and that's going to allow them to dry in a little bit higher. Okay. Now, because they're drying right on the lash, even though they look straight across, as she's moving her eye, she shouldn't feel them at all. Chin up again. That looks beautiful. So again, I'm just at the base of her lash line, using my tweezer just to lift it a little bit. They take a while to dry, so, and that's why you do one eye at a time, because if the glue is still wet here and I go to the other side, these ones can still shift around a little bit. How's that feeling?
Perfect.
Yeah? You put your chin up just a little bit higher so we can see it. Great. Good. And we're still kind of dry on the very top, so we're going to let that tack out just a little bit longer. Okay, so now that we've given it a couple minutes, you can see if you close your eyes, it's just about dry. There's still a little bit of a whiteness on the line, but that's dry enough now that we can go on to the next eye. If you open up your eye, we have cleared any lashes from the bottom that were stuck. So now these should last her all day long without feeling like they're in the way. Okay, and they feel good into, yeah, okay, perfect. Okay, so now we'll go on to the next eye, and we'll just kind of speed up the next eye as we use it.
Good.
And perfect. And that's what the lashes look like. And it takes a long time to put on, and they're a little bit finicky. But again, once you have them on, they are good for the whole day. So when you have to dance in the morning and dance at night, or if this is just an everyday look for you with lashes, once they're on, you should never feel them. They should never be on your skin, and they will last all day long. Okay, perfect. So next we're going to go into eyeliner. So that is it for our lash tutorial. Okay, so now we're going to start with the eyeliner. So I use a liquid eyeliner. Again, you can use anything you want, but I'm using something that I know won't smudge all day. So liquid liner is my choice. You want something with a nice head to it. So it's like a little Sharpie. And when I'm applying to someone else, I like to hold just above the eyebrow, just to give me some room with the eye. And even though her eyes are closed, I'm going to get you, Natalia, eyes closed, but make sure that you're looking downward. Okay, so it just kind of opens up. No, I can tell when you're looking up. So keep your eyes closed and then look down. Perfect, there we go. So I'm going to give me some space here, and you know what, I can't quite sit while I'm doing this part. So I'm going to come in here, lift up a little bit, and I'm going to start right in the corner, and I like to do little feathery lines. Because if you try to do the line all at one time, it is going to, you'd have to have an extremely, extremely steady hand for that. Pause for a sec.
Go.
All right. So here you want to extend that line at like a 45-degree angle from her eye, okay? So you want it to kind of follow like where her nose would be coming up to her eyebrow. Follow that line, and I kind of extended quite a bit here. And once again, because we're talking about dance, chin up a bit. Because we're talking about dance, it has to be pretty dramatic, because this is, again, all the eye play on the stage. We got to make sure those eyes really pop up there. Okay, and I'm going to come around this way. Actually, if you put your head up, and just make sure that you stay looking downward. Little tiny strokes. And again, follow that lash line. Now if you want to thicken it up, you can, not from this corner. Can you come up a little bit higher just so we can see what... Here, I keep it really skinny, and then I can kind of extend a little bit inward on the eye, like so. Okay, open up your eyes. I need to see you, sorry, I need to, so I can clean up my line a bit. There we go, there it is. Just got a coloring in there. And head up. So the difference of this one's very skinny. This one we have a little bit wider. Again, depending on your costume, your dance is to if you need a really, really bold eye, or if you want something a little bit, just a normal cat eye. Okay, so then we want to balance them out. Just for the costume that she's wearing, her Senorita dance needs a whole lot of Spanish flair to it, which means us really overdoing the makeup. But when you're doing Ukrainian dance, normal ballet, you're probably looking at more just a basic cat eye. Okay, so I extended both of those. Close your eyes again. And that's why you got to keep checking them too with their eyes open, because you want to make sure that your line's in the proper place, because everyone's eyelid is a little bit different. And don't get them to open up too soon if your liquid eyeliner is too liquidy, because otherwise it won't be instantly dry and you will have liquid eyeliner all over. So if that's the case, all you gotta do is just make sure they keep their eyes closed a little bit longer while it dries. Okay, so I'm gonna get you to open up your eyes. Get the camera there nice and close so that we can see if that is where it should be. see that that corner's still a little bit sharper than the other sharper, but from far away, we're gonna look good no matter what, right? Good, perfect. So a little bit of mascara when I'm doing someone's mascara on the bottom. I kind of, yeah, now you want to look up here, right? So you want them to have their eyes nice and open here, but looking upward. I use the tip of the mascara wand and just kind of catch those lashes on the bottom. Okay, let them dry. And here, because we're doing such a dramatic top, you don't need to do any eyeliner on the bottom, because in this kind of stage work, all it's going to do is just make those eyes look really small, and we don't want that. Again, that all depends on your dance. So, but for basic dances, we don't need to close that bottom up at all. I'm using the full one now just because now that I have it on the whole lash, it's a little bit easier to come back in because they're already kind of sticking out for me. Okay, and I'll do the very top. There you go. And the reason why I'm doing this part is just because her lashes that I previously had put mascara on, I just want to make sure that they kind of stick to that, the false lash there. So this is just kind of giving them that little bit of mascara gel to stick together. Go. Okay, so that is it for her eyes. Her eyes are totally complete. And now we're going to finish off the face. Little touch of concealer. You can do this with your fingers. You can do it with a sponge. You can do it with a brush. Look upward. We don't want to touch those lashes. I just want to make sure that anything that was here is gone. If you do have any kind of foliage from your eyeshadow, you can actually take a Q-tip and dip it into, where's my brush here? There it is. You can dip it into some foundation, and all you'd have to do is just touch here with the foundation on the brush. Then you take your Q-tip and you roll it. And when you do that, it's going to not take away any of that makeup that you have underneath there, but all the foliage, all the powder from your eyeshadow, it would take that all away. Now, she doesn't have any today, so we don't have to worry about that. But if you have any questions about that, you can let me know, and I can always give you a little show on how to get rid of that powder without smudging it. Because if you just smudge it, you get that kind of like really dark eye circle. And that's what we try to avoid with makeup, obviously. You don't want to look darker under your eyes. You want to look nice and bright. Okay, now highlighting. We also highlight a bit down the nose. And I'm actually not using a highlighter. I'm using my concealer. But because it is a lighter shade, we're still getting a little bit of a highlight too. Okay, good. Now a little bit of powder to finish her up here. And I'm going to use a bit of a brush to close this up here. And I'm using a nice pressed powder. Okay. It's always kind of dabbing. You can also kind of do it a little bit in like a circular motion just to kind of get everything nice and perfected. And hair changes per costume, but usually this makeup, when done properly, would last all day. She will have to touch up her lipstick. That is about it. Good, and a little bit of blush, and she is complete. She wears a lip sense for her lipstick, so we're actually going to do that separately, but I know everyone chooses something different. You can do a stain, you can do just a regular lipstick. The only thing you don't want is you don't want it to be too dewy and too moisturizing, because it gets all over their teeth, it gets all over their costumes, and it smudges. You actually will get lots of running down around the lips. So really great idea to use a lip liner if you are using some kind of lipstick, but if you're using a stain, a Lip Sense, anything of the sort, yeah, it should just dry and kind of stay in place. But we are going to do a Lip Sense tutorial, but we'll do that once she's got all her costume on and stuff, so that we don't, that's kind of our final step. So you can see the cheeks that I'm doing. I'm just kind of like working on the apples of her cheek. Again, different with everything you're doing. When you're doing regular makeup, you're working from the cheekbone and trying to accentuate that. When she's working, you kind of go back further. When she's working from a stage view, she wants the apples to be lit up. So when she smiles, you can see that light kind of catching onto her cheekbone, or apples, sorry. I'm getting a little bit mixed up with words now. And I use quite a aggressive pink too, because you really want to see, don't want her to disappear. And there we go. That is her makeup look for stage makeup. Okay, so now we are going to do the Lip Sense tutorial. We're going to be using Lip Sense called Blue Red, which is the most popular for dances. We're in the auditorium right now, so I'm hoping that you'll be able to hear really well. So what we want to do is we want to use 3 coats of the Lip Sense, and then we want to seal it with the gloss. So you want to start by shaking it really well. You can hear the ball that's inside there. That's going to get all the product nice and even. So shake it really, really, really well. And then when you apply it, you want to do 3 very, very thin layers. So I'm going to take it out of the package, and I'm going to wipe the excess onto back into the bottle, because you want it extremely thin, except for especially with the darker colors. Okay, so we want to, what you want to do is you want to go into one direction, one smooth direction, and on the top I'm going to go one way, and then we're going to go the other way on to the other side. You do not want to go back and forth because it dries super fast. So if you're going to be going back and forth, you're just going to lift that color back up, and it's not going to give you a really good finish. So we'll start here at the very corner and inward. Now when you're applying it, there's a little bit of a pepperminty feel to it, and that pepperminty feel is actually in there an agent to help heal your lips. So the more you use Lip Sense, that actually will start going away more and more too once your lips are healed. When you first start using Lip Sense, you do feel that mintiness, I guess, more. And I guess it's just because it is healing your lips. You also, there we go. So that's the first coat. And if you're worried about those outer edges, just take little strokes. Then you don't have to worry about it. And what you don't want to do is you never want to smuck your lips together while this is drying, because they're going to stick together and then you'll actually pull some of that color off. So you want to keep your lips spread apart. And I'm gonna do one more time just into just one more thinner, just because, like I said, because I'm using the red, it could take one more. And then we're going to do the inside a little bit as well. The inside of the lip, the skin is more sensitive. So be ready, that minty feeling that you're going to feel, you will feel it a little bit more. But I'm going to get you, when I'm going to do the inside, just so we don't get a line there, I want you to kind of breathe in just to kind of dry that off a little bit. Yeah. There we go. Just as much as you can. And it's just to stop from that line forming. Okay. That's about as much as you need. Let that dry, and then you can apply your own gloss. And again, the gloss you can see from previous uses. The nice thing about Lip Sense is that it doesn't get on anything, so you can, if you wait till it's totally dry, then apply, you'll never see it on your lips or on your lip brush. But that gloss is going to seal it right in there. And you can reapply that gloss throughout the day as you need to, just for some extra moisture. But again, the healing gloss takes away the stickiness and will lock it in all day. Perfect.
That's it.
And that completes your makeup look.